Last live show of 2019, Trucker Stone wants to know. It happens to be a live show in not only the last live show of 2019, but the last live show of 2019 will be out at Slim and Chubby's in Strongsville, Monday, December the 16th. It is a Monday, but I hope that you can join us. It is the 10th anniversary of this program, the Alan Cox Show 10th anniversary special, brought to you by Bud Light. So we're all going to be there. Starting at 2 o'clock, Strongsville, Slim and Chubby's on Monday the 16th. So see your way to joining us, whether it's for 5 minutes, whether you want to park it for the whole show. We're going to have guests, and we're going to have prizes and a lot of fun. More prizes on the way, by the way. Calling in some favors.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we will be off for the holiday. For a few weeks. We will return live on January the 6th of 2020, beginning a whole new decade here at the show. And the show will sound a little different to you in 2020 if the things that I want to do happen. I'll be in Poundcake's room. He'll be here. Bill will be where Mary is. Mary will be where Bill is. It's a whole thing.
Oh, flippy flopper.
I'm going to be doing... Oh, floppy. Yeah. I went through the SNL Norm Macdonald as Darth Vader thing, and I think you might be remembering it differently.
Really?
Yeah, because he just kind of stands there and chomps gum. It doesn't say too much.
Yeah, that's kind of how it
Got the helmet on? Yeah.
I'm Darth Vader.
I don't get it.
So you have this mystical power.
Let me ask you a question. What kind of car does this guy drive?
What kind of car does he drive? Yeah.
What kind of car does he drive?
Kevin Spacey comes back to be Jack Lemmon as Chewbacca.
I'm gonna take a dump in this damn mess.
Jack,
What I'm gonna
please
do.
put it on.
Why can't I audition for ObiWan? You got math house screen testing. I'd be a terrific ObiWan.
Mm-hmm. That whole thing. I wonder if Daniel Day-Lewis would come out of retirement to play Trump in the eventual film that is made out of all this mishigas.
Ooh.
Think about that. He played Lincoln, right? But Lincoln is just...
That's more of a historic figure that people appreciate in a lot of ways.
But also, I'm just saying aesthetically.
Yeah.
Lincoln was a beard, a mole, and a stovepipe hat, right? And anybody could...
The transformation to become Trump is going to be much more severe for... Like, he already kind of looks like Lincoln.
That's
You
what I'm
throw the
saying,
beard
yes.
on him,
He's
the hat on him,
lanky.
he's
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to pull a Christian Bale or Russell Crowe. But for him to undergo a transformation
Right.
like that...
Which you hate. Like, if he actually gains the weight, you're like, oh, why'd you gain the weight? Just wear a fat suit. Whatever.
Did I say that?
I don't know. Every time you gave...
Christian Bale?
Yeah, Christian Bale did an
Dick
amazing
Cheney?
job becoming Dick Cheney, and you're just like, yeah. I thought it was a great movie. I thought he did a great job.
In Vice?
Yeah.
Didn't he say he got diabetes or something like that? Or
Well, no, like Jared Leto played Mark David Chapman in a movie nobody saw, and he gained 50 pounds. He got gout, all this stuff. You know, these movies, I think Jared Leto, God bless him, he was trying to do something, but he put on a ton of weight. Yeah, there's all kinds of complications that come from that. And then somebody like Christian Bale, who immediately goes back into, God, what was I reading about Christian Bale, that he had just put on the weight, because he was fat in American Hustle.
Yeah.
He was fat in, I think this guy likes just eating. He
Yeah, but he gets skinny, too.
he
Or
got
gets
skinny
ripped.
one time for the
No,
machinist, and
he got
everybody
skinny
likes
for
to.
the fighter where he won an Oscar.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He was real skinny in that, and then he also, like, he's gotten jacked, like, for Batman. He's been all over the place.
I was reading something with him, and he was talking about how he had just put on the weight to do Vice. Or something, but they needed to do reshoots for the fighter. I don't remember the order in which they came, but they needed
Vice
to
was much later, I feel like.
Okay.
The fighter, I feel like, is like 2010 or something.
Well, whatever the movies
but it-
were in succession,
Yeah.
they call them and they go, we need to do reshoots on this movie where you are much thinner. So he's like, I had 30 days to get back into that shape. That's what people don't think about.
Right. Going back and forth. How hard that is on your body. and the fact that he can do it. And then it's not just like he's losing weight one way or another. He also becomes like he never sounds the same. That's why whenever you hear Christian Bale, like the only reason I know what he sounds like is because we always play the "Oh, good for you" clip.
Right.
But I don't really know what he talks like most of the time because he really does change his voice and his demeanor and everything. Like I have no idea what that man is like because he becomes his characters.
Good for you.
Well, he was doing a chat show overseas or something, and the headline was, "People can't believe that Christian Bale is Welsh." And I'm
Yeah.
like, by this time you've heard him speak, haven't you?
Nah,
People
I-
are still surprised that
Because
he's
I don't
not...
think because he's not a guy that like he'll do these chat shows and stuff like that, but I don't think his segments ever really stand out, and I don't think he does them all that often. But I mean, even like a guy like Tom Holland, people forget that he forgets that he's American or
Yeah.
he's English. Like he was, I remember on like Fallon or something, they're feeding him lines, and he immediately went into an American accent because he was acting.
Yeah.
So
Here's Christian Bale talking about probably Dark Knight or something.
About director Scott Cooper, who has called this movie a metaphor for America, for everything that's happened to it in the last...
Oh, this was for Out of the Furnace. Did you ever see Out of the Furnace?
no,
Oh, my God. That is a
About-
great movie.
like making pots.
No. He's a guy who runs a kiln. And no, he's like him and his brother are in this burned out town in West Virginia, but his brother is like a tweaker and he's trying to just keep him out of trouble. It's really good. It's just about poor people. Woody Harrelson is like a local crime lord or something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people saw it, but it's real good.
last
Never even heard of
5 turbulent years.
Yeah.
And I've heard you were drawn to this script immediately. Why?
It was something that hypnotized me, and the characters were fascinating. The life, the lifestyle, the towns. The town is such an important part of this man's life. His love of his town, like absolute sincere patriotism, not the sort of BS patriotism.
Yeah, he got real thin for that movie too.
And that's
you
how
know-
he sounds in. He basically uses real voice in the movie The Prestige, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Great movie.
It's incredible,
Yeah.
and that's his real voice, and he's great in that one.
I'll tell you who also does not get as much credit as he probably should is Mark Wahlberg. Because this dude is always...
He gets credit.
You think?
He gets money.
Yes, but he gets a
No, but
lot of cred.
I mean I don't think people think of him as like a very good actor. Like for a long time, people didn't think Brad Pitt was a good actor. They just thought he was a pretty face.
Yeah, I thought
but
he was
like
a movie
Wahlberg
star.
works hard. Like he did this movie called The Gambler that again kind of came and went.
Yeah, where
but
he
lost a lot
60
of weight
pounds for that one.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's losing fat; he's losing muscle. Which
Yes.
like you don't lose muscle the way you lose fat. Like muscle takes longer to lose, and you have to really just
you gotta work
starve
to lose
yourself.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just it's just straight starvation.
That's how you get through. So if Daniel Day-Lewis will come out of retirement to play Trump down the road, and I only mention this because a guy on C-SPAN called in to talk about how Trump was better than Lincoln. And if you've watched CNN at all, they did this like poll that like a majority of Republicans think that Trump is greater than Lincoln.
They probably think he's better than Jesus, too.
Well, the Lincoln thing you get. You're like, stupid Lincoln freed all those slaves.
Yeah, all right.
But the guy calls CNN, and I mean, again, the tinfoil hat stuff. I think this call's fake. I think this is a guy who's
Trolling.
not even trolling. He's just trying to get something out there that sounds whatever.
Their narrative is so weak, and it just seems like they've got...
Yeah, his point is that Pelosi and Schiff and all these people they're pulling a coup. Yeah. Forgetting that the president has admitted to everything he's done.
Right.
Their narrative is so weak, and it just seems like they've got this absolute hell-bent desire to dethrone Trump, who's done
Dethrone.
the best in this country.
Right? Your words give you away.
Dethrone.
Dethrone. Right.
Oh,
He's
King
not a king,
Trump.
sir. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I figure of speech, but
Desire to dethrone Trump, who's done the best in this country that any president has ever done. He supersedes Lincoln. Lincoln only freed the slaves. Yes, that's a big thing. But what Trump is doing is far greater.
preserving the union isn't a big thing, right?
So he's laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
that's clearly somebody who's,
Yeah.
nobody who is intellectually honest or has a working brain would say that he was a better president.
Well,
So Daniel Day-Lewis, though, as Trump is
Daniel
in your
Day-Lewis should
head,
come
yeah.
out of
Retirement
to play.
I don't even know who this guy is. I have to look him up.
If you have a milkshake and I have a milkshake, I'm going to drink your milkshake. I don't do a Trump, but that would be a great scene. He could just take it straight from.
That's right.
Yeah.
I will drink all your milkshakes
Bring me more milkshakes.
and bring all the milkshakes.
Why are there so few milkshakes around here? I need more milkshakes.
When Nancy Pelosi made the announcement this morning that they were filing articles of impeachment, one of these reporters in the front who works for some right-wing news organization where it was like, isn't it just because you guys hate Trump? And she was basically like, do not F with me. She's like, I don't hate anybody. Are you paying attention to what's going on? It's got nothing to do with that.
Goons.
Goons.
And as a Catholic, I resent your using the word hate in a sentence that addresses me. I don't hate anyone. I was raised in a way that is a heart full of love, and always prayed for the president. And I still pray for the president. I pray for the president all the time. So don't mess with me when it comes to words like that.
Don't mess with me, sir. Yeah.
I hate him.
I don't hate him. I think he's too.
No, I don't hate anybody.
That's
No,
too
I
much.
do.
That's too much energy to direct towards someone.
I think he sucks. But I always thought he sucked.
No, I think
thought he
he's-
sucked. I hated him from the moment I knew who Donald Trump was.
He
I've
sucks,
never
but
liked
I
him.
don't hate the guy.
I hate him.
You know.
I've always hated him. I hate his hair. I hate the way he talks. I hate everything about him, and I always have.
You're giving
and I
him too
always
much
will.
energy. You're
No,
giving him
I
too
don't.
much energy.
Well, it's
To
Bill's
hate
energy
someone-
to use
I
however
don't
he
have
likes.
to. I don't
Well,
give
who's
him a
doing
lot
the
of energy.
raping?
I don't get online and
What
like,
you're spewing
argue
right
with
now
people.
is energy.
Yeah, well, I got energy. We got time to fill, so I'm going to use some energy.
I'm just saying, like he's a buffoon.
But I think he sucks, and I've always thought he sucked. And I hate when people think that because he ran for president, like I never watched a moment of his TV show because I thought it was terrible,
I never
and I
saw
thought
it.
he was terrible, and I didn't want to hear his voice. I've always hated Donald Trump. He stinks.
Listen, everyone in New York, city and state, knew precisely who he was. That's why he got stomped there. It was convincing the mouth breathers that he wasn't an elite.
He's a garbage human.
But he's an elite now because he's only the third president in history to be impeached. We had one in 100 years. Now we've had 3 in the last 50. So that doesn't tell you something. But Daniel Day-Lewis should come back and play him as something.
Yeah, I think
The commander, call it the commander of cheese, and have Daniel Day-Lewis.
The President of the United States and the Commander of Cheese.
I like the Daniel Plainview version of Trump.
I can't wait. I can't wait till Kellyanne Conway.
all your milkshakes.
I can't wait till Kellyanne Conway plays herself because she doesn't really support Trump. She
Well, but here's the thing,
I'm
though.
a businessman.
The thing that they, I guess I'm thinking of Fox News. They really haven't done like a Trump movie yet, but you know they've done a couple of the Roger Ailes Fox News things where they had different actresses playing the same part. But at some point they'll have to do casting on something like this, where they'll have maybe Charlize Theron will come back and play
They should have
Kellyanne
that.
Conway.
They should have the Russian sex bot play Melania.
I was gonna say, what hot modern day model would play Melania?
I think they should get the Modern Family lady, even though she's not.
Sofia Vergara.
How could you? How could you? No.
What about Mila Kunis? She's actually
Oh, there you go,
Russian.
Mila
She can
Kunis, that
speak
could work,
Russian.
yeah.
But Melania's not Russian.
She's Eastern European. She's
She's
Slovakian, or
Slovenian.
Slovenian, or yeah, same
Whatever,
thing. It's
yeah.
the same thing. They're all. It's an aggressively white part
They
of the
look
world.
different though.
Huh?
Like Russians and Slovenians look different. Like
Right, but what I'm saying is when they're casting a movie for dramatic
can make 'em
purposes,
look
they
good.
don't go, well, Mila Kunis isn't Slovenian, you know?
Now they do though. Yeah,
Yeah.
she hasn't been cheated on by a man with a.
I think
with a porn star.
Trump would be pissed if the person's like not skinny and ripped, or like he would want somebody. He's like,
I
can
think they should get,
John Travolta to play me.
Get somebody.
John Travolta.
John
Get a
Travolta,
woman to
for
play
real.
Trump, and that'll blow his mind. Get Scarlett Johansson to play Trump.
Nikki Blonsky.
Nikki Blonsky.
Just give her a blonde wig, or we could go with what's her face, the one that trolled him in SNL. The one that was taking the scooter, or no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the second.
Melissa McCarthy
Melissa
is
McCarthy.
Sean Spicer.
Yeah, Sean Spicer. But
Yeah,
she
that's
played
funny.
a good Sean Spicer.
Yeah.
But see, that's why no one would take this movie seriously, because it would just be a bunch of trolling. Like,
Yeah, right.
It would just be
No, they're going to make it people are going to want to be in this movie.
There's no way that there won't eventually be a movie about some facet of this.
I can't wait.
And it's going to be soon.
I can't wait.
Alan, for 7 years, I've been thinking that clip of Christian Bale that you play was Homer Simpson. It is not.
Oh, good for you.
Now that's a classic Christian Bale on set, part of this rant. It's probably the whole thing's probably on YouTube. I'll tell you who they need to make a movie about. Toot Sweet. Humans of New York is still a thing, right? Our friend Jim Tooze had a very successful book called Felines of New York. There's a takeoff on that. But Humans of New York is still a thing. It's still an ongoing portrait series. It's been around for about 10 or 11 years. It's still on Instagram and Facebook and all that. And I'll peek into it from time to time. And there's an old black stripper. She's not stripping anymore, but back in the day she was. Her name is Tanqueray. And they need to do a movie on this woman right away. She said her mother threw her out at 17 for getting pregnant, arrested her when she tried to get her things at home. But she had a very interesting life. She's 80-something now, I think. But she studied at the Fashion Institute, and she went on to make costumes for strippers and porn stars. And she came up through the New York drag scene, and she made friends there. And she said that she was just in that community. She said, this is a quote from her. My mom threw me out of the house at 17 for getting pregnant and then had me arrested when I came back. Then she effed the head of parole to try to keep me in jail. She was some prime P back then. Talking about her mom. But the warden did some tests on me and found out I was smart. So I got a scholarship to go anywhere in New York, and I chose FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, which I hated. By that time, I was already getting work making costumes for strippers and porn stars in Times Square. One night, a Hasidic rabbi tried to pick me up because he thought I was a tranny. I had to tell him, baby, this is real fish. So, this woman has lived. So, humans...
This is why when people talk about, like, oh, the older generation, like, there's different people that have different experiences, and, like, for her to refer to herself and say, this is real fish... This is not a sensitive woman.
I think that
She's wonderful.
I think anyone who's young who does not, either in a familial way with older members of their family, or if they get the opportunity to do it somewhere else, if you do not park yourself next to an old person and ask them to tell you stories, you are missing out.
Baby, this is real fish.
Baby, this is so real fish, I told them.
Goddamn funny.
So Humans of New York is still on Instagram. Human of NY, I think is what it is on Instagram. It's on Facebook and all that. They need to make... Everybody else is getting a goddamn documentary, right? There's a Billie Eilish documentary. I just read that the Garth Brooks documentary, they ran on the History Channel, and it got the highest, like 2 million people, which in 2019 is a ass ton of people on television.
And, like, watching it.
Yeah,
like watching it live. Like, and then those numbers... go up because of the on-demand and stuff.
He just came through. WGAR did a big thing with him in a club. They called it WGA Arth or something, which is funny.
I like that.
But, the Garth Brooks History Channel documentary or something got 2 million people watch. Give Tanqueray a documentary.
Give her, I want a movie, I want a documentary, and then just give her a talk show as well.
She said, back in the 70s, I was the only black girl making white girl money. I had this magic trick where I'd put baby bottle tops on my nipples and squirt real milk. And then I'd pull a cherry out of my shorts and feed it to the guy in the front row.
Oh, my God.
Goodness.
I never effed the booking agents, never effed the clients. One night I caught a dancer sneaking off to the hotel with our biggest tipper, and that was not allowed. So the next night, we put itching powder in her G-string.
Oh, my God.
Boy, did she put on a show that night.
Make this movie now.
Yes. She's like...
Hustlers, this is what we want to see.
That's the real hustler.
Yeah. So she was working with strippers and porn stars. And
call it real fish.
Real fish. The Tanqueray story. My friend Madame Blanche in the 80s set my best friend Vicky up with the president every time he came to New York. And I can't tell you his name because I can't afford the lawyers. But he'd spend an hour with her, and then the Secret Service would stand in front of the door. And she told me all he ever did was orally service her. I'm paraphrasing. She used much more colorful language.
I'm sure.
So anyway... Please, someone make there's all kinds of dumb niche crap being made documentary form these days. Everyone and their brother thinks they're a documentarian. Somebody follow this woman and do a Tanqueray documentary.
Her stories, yeah.
Still living in New York. She's 80-something. This is real fish, baby.
This is real fish.
Real fish.
I'd be down to see that.
Yeah. All right, I got a break. You want to get the last word in, send me a text, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com for everything else.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS and everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app.